Enough said. I don't know.
Good evening. I call this order to meeting. It's meeting of the county board. It's July 24th, 2008. The time is 7:03. Roll call, please.
Ammons. Present. Anderson. Here. Beckett. Benzel. Betts. Here. Carter. Here. Cowart. Dennitz.
Here.
Gladney.
Present.
Gross. Hunt.
Here.
James.
Here.
Jay.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Knott.
Here.
Langenheim. McGinty.
Here.
Moline. Here. Mosier. Nudo.
Here.
O'Connor.
Here.
Putman. Richards.
Here.
Sapp. Schrader.
Here.
Wysocki. Weibel.
Here. We have a quorum. I'll note for the record that Mr. Beckett and Ms. Gross are on family business. Ms. Putnam is in Hawaii at her class reunion and probably eating a Spam cuisine right now. The prayer for the meeting is short, hint, hint. It's by Reinhold Niebuhr. Lord, give me the sincerity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk read the notice of the meeting?
Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the County Board, Champaign County, Illinois will convene on July 24th, 2008, 7 p.m. in the Lyle Childs Meeting Room, Brookins Administrative Center, 1776 East Washington Street, Urbana, Illinois, in said county for the purpose of allowing and ordering payments of claims against the county, receiving and acting upon reports of committees and such other matters as may be brought before said meeting, shall continue in session from day to day until the completion of said business.
Move approval.
Moved by Mr. Betts, second by Ms. Wysocki. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
I move approval of the minutes of June 19th, 2008.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. James. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Move approval of the agenda and the addendum.
By Mr. Betts, second by Mr. Langenheim. Are there any items to take off of it? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, this is the agenda. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The date and time of the next regular meeting is Thursday, August 21st, 2008 at 7 p.m. in this room. Public participation. Diana Vesic. Please step forward. Microphone should be on.
I'm Diana Vesic. I live in Urbana, and I'm a member of a loose, nonpartisan coalition interested in enhancing democracy in Champaign County. Our group includes Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Greens, and Independents. During the last few months, we've been working on ways to improve transparency, to make government more open and accessible to the people. As a result of our efforts, Champaign will have a referendum question on the November ballot asking if the city and township should post on their websites all contracts and itemized expenditures so the taxpayers can see how their money is being spent. We expect it will pass. In Urbana, the City Council asked if they could implement transparency on their own rather than having a referendum. In the last few months, the Comptroller has posted the annual Treasurer's Report showing how much has been paid to each vendor and the trial balance of the General Ledger, complete with transaction register. He's now in the process of posting all contracts and drafting an ordinance ensuring citizen access to supporting documents that are not available on the web. We would like the County Board, County Auditor, and other county elected officials to post their contracts and itemized expenses on the web. We feel that making the county's finances more transparent will increase the trust that citizens have in county operations and enable citizens and vendors to make useful suggestions. But transparency extends beyond financial matters. It's important that citizens feel there are no secrets other than the extremely limited topics protected by state and federal laws. Sometimes governmental bodies are so afraid of embarrassment that they hide issues that aren't protected by law and would actually benefit from being publicly aired. Since polls indicate that Americans are increasingly dissatisfied with government, greater transparency would help to restore trust. Our group is in the process of drafting ordinances that would improve the way that Champaign County applies both the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act. In regards to the Open Meetings Act, we would like the county board to require a supermajority in order to go into closed session. A supermajority would ensure that the issue in question is beyond partisanship and clearly warrants secrecy. With regards to the Freedom of Information Act, we would like those whose requests have been denied by the county to be able to appeal the decision to the county board rather than being forced to go to court. A supermajority would be required to support the denial. We would like the county board to ask other elected county officials to follow this policy for FOIA denials made by their offices. Again, such a policy would ensure that whatever is kept secret truly deserves that protection. We intend to have drafts of these ordinances available in time for the next policy committee meeting and hope that you will put them on the agenda. We feel these policies will make the public more comfortable with what the county is doing. The more trust the taxpayers have in government, the more happy they are to support its activities. We feel that these initiatives would help the county board serve the county better and make the process more enjoyable for everyone. We hope you will consider them carefully. Thank you.
Rachel Swartz.
Hello. I have on your desk a copy of a similar report that I gave to the Finance Committee. I just thought it might be useful to add some details that I didn't talk about in the Finance Committee, and then for the members who are not there to go over that. I've been spending hundreds and hundreds of hours looking into nursing home issues, data, public and private. And there are many issues, but I'm going to talk about the three that I found most troubling. The first one has to do with data integrity, and we're not talking just about data integrity to the world. We're talking about data integrity that's given to the county board based on which you're making decisions. And so, as examples, I have three items. One is contract rehab. And on the county unaudited expense report, it showed up as $342,000. We don't know what it is on the audited report because audited reports don't break down items. It just says all service expenses are. So I don't know what the audited is, but I know that the nursing home has to file a cost report with the state of Illinois. All nursing homes do. And on that one, the nursing home disclosed a different number, which is $567. That's actually what they did pay. The other one, the second number, was contract nursing. Again, because it's such a big line item and been a topic of discussions. On the unaudited reports, we have $900,000. We don't know, we don't see any number on the audited reports. But the actual number showing on the state of Illinois, and I have the website later if you want to find this for yourself, is significantly higher. And finally, the most troubling probably, given all the loans that the county board extended to the nursing home, is accounts payable. Accounts payable shows in the county unaudited books, by the way, run in January, the end of January, so this is not like we didn't have time to put it. It's officially showing as $261,000. 2 months later, nursing home filed the report, same report I said, with the state of Illinois, almost $1 million. And this one, we do happen to have a line item. When the auditor went through it, he actually found $1.4 million. So we have a problem. Okay? We can't really make decisions if we don't know the data. And in all three of them, it's not an atypical case. Typically, people overstate their revenues to make themselves look good. The nursing home tends to understate its expenses to make themselves look good, but that also, if you don't report your expenses and you don't put the invoices in the system, accounts payable don't show. So you don't really know what we owe until way in the future. And once it's paid in the future, we never go back and reconcile and say, oh, actually, this came from 2007. So we really have no idea what goes where. Shortage of nurses. People have talked on and on, so I'm not going to repeat it on contract nursing. The costs have been fluctuating, but the last 5 years they went up from $80,000 in 2003 to over $1 million in 2007. And the first half of 2008, we already at $620,000. Okay, so it's a big number. However, the discussions I've heard prior to looking at the data and what MPA in both operational audits said is we have a problem with low ethics. People don't show up to work. They don't call. They call in the last minute. Therefore, we need contract nursing. So the solution is discipline. We need to penalize them. We need to be harsher. We need to discipline. Except if you go to the numbers, and those numbers are from the same cost reports, so you'll never see them on the county audited or unaudited numbers, but they're filed with the state of Illinois. It turns out that more than 80% of these dollars go to RNs and LPNs that just don't vacancies. The nursing home cannot hire and retain them. So we're not talking, there is an issue with absenteeism, I'm sure. But the main issue is we cannot hire RNs and LPNs and keep them, and so discipline is not going to fix it. That's not the problem. More than that, it's beyond the dollars and the instability for residents. So we've had in the past, for example, in 2001, we spent $1 million on contract nursing. So that's happened in the past. We've never had a case where 40% of the RNs and LPNs are temporary agency nurses. So even when we spent a lot of money, it was CNAs. So the table that I provided here shows you hourly, so in order to get rid of the dollars and the inflation. This is hours provided by RNs and LPNs. CCNH would be CCNH nurses, agency would be agency nurses, and then you have total and percent agency. And you can see that in 2000 we had 2.6% of nurses were agency, then it was 11, 3, it went up and down, but it really started going up in 06. In 06 you have 24%, 07, and the beginning of 08, 40%. I don't have any information beyond that. It's not like I have it and I know that it's going down. Don't know what it's, I don't have the data, so I can't tell you. But the problem is you cannot increase, we have to increase the census to have the nursing home financially viable. You cannot increase the census if you don't have the nurses. So there is a cost issue, there is a stability issue, there is possible violations because the temp nurses don't know the residents and each other. But we just cannot increase census without nurses. Okay, so we need to, so the issue is not a discipline issue, it's about making this a work environment where nurses want to work. And the last thing is the contract rehab. We have one provider, so agency nursing comes from several agencies. Contract rehab has one provider from Austin, Texas, of all places. We've been with them since 2001. And it's not atypical for nursing home to outsource or subcontract their rehab because of Medicare requirements and forms and all kind of things. It's typical to have an outside firm. What's atypical is the amount of money we pay. And so something that I haven't put here, the most recent month, we've been paying $80,000 a month. The problem with that is based on service logs from ONR, from the firm. So this is not my independent audit of what they provided. This is based on the company providing invoices plus service logs. Based on these service logs, we're paying thousands of dollars every month for services not provided. And the reason it can happen is the contract for some types of resident codes is per diem, and we pay whether or not they provide the minutes. We're talking several $1,000s every month. The other side of that is, for some codes, we pay per minute. Guess what? We have thousands of extra minutes at 95 cents per minute every month. And while it's true that Medicare in general is the highest revenue resident, they don't reimburse us for the minutes we provide. They reimburse us based on what's supposed to be provided for every resident, given the codes. And so we're paying for what we don't get, and we also pay for what we maybe get, but don't get reimbursed. On top of that, and that's something, again, I didn't put here, when you, ONR also provides what's called labor summaries. So they add up all the minutes per resident, and then they say so-and-so worked X hours a day based on these minutes. Well, multiple therapy assistants add up to 13-hour days consistently. 12 hours, 13 hours, 9 hours, 11 hours. I checked because I thought we might have around-the-clock operation. We don't. And so that means that even the minutes that, what I told you before is the minutes they report, but even those are questionable. We do not have an independent way of auditing because we don't keep track of that. ONR keeps track of everything, so we don't have a way to go back and track it. We can only go forward and make sure we get what we pay for. The last thing is magnitude. I don't know anything about how much it should cost, but I looked at DeKalb. We paid in 2007 about $600,000. DeKalb has an operation that's at least 60% larger than us in terms of Medicare rehab, but they paid less. They paid $495,000. And so it's not just these minutes here and there. We're really paying more than comparable. And the last point I wanted to make was, it seems to me like that a contract of that size should go out for bids more often. I think the last time it went out was 2001. And when we do go out for bids, it shouldn't just be in Illinois because, as you can tell, these providers are from all over. And so, while typical bids, I'm sure, are limited in the region, these, obviously the therapists live in Champaign or come to Champaign, but the companies that provide it and submit the bids and do the billings are nationwide. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more public participation? Okay, we'll close that.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
Ms. Ammons?
I just wanted to ask a question about this report that we just...
You have to motion to break the rules.
Okay.
A motion to suspend the rules, Mr.
Yes, sir,
Chair.
you can do that.
I motion to suspend the rules. so that I
Motion to
can ask
suspend the
a question.
rules by Ms. Ames. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Gladney. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Motion fails. Moving on to announcements. Ms. Wysocki.
You're going to have to bear with me because this is an announcement that we are required to publicly state from the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. So I have to read it as it's presented to me. This is a public notice of the proposed issuance of a federally enforceable state operating permit to Bell Sports, Inc. in Rantoul. Bell Sports, Inc. has requested that the Illinois EPA issue a federally enforceable state operating permit, otherwise known as FACEOP, regulating the air emissions from its helmet assembly plant located at 1924 County Road 300 North, it should be, in Rantoul. The Illinois EPA has made a preliminary determination that the application would comply with the environmental regulations and has prepared a draft permit for public review. The Illinois EPA is accepting comments on the draft permit. Comments must be postmarked by midnight August 14th, 2008. If sufficient interest is expressed in the permit, a hearing may be held. Requests for information, comments, and questions should be directed to Brad Frost, Division of Air Pollution Control, Illinois EPA, P.O. Box 19506, Springfield, Illinois, 672-94-9506. The phone is 217-782-2113. Persons wanting more information may obtain copies of the draft permit and project summary at the following website, www.epa.gov/region5/air/permits/ILO, let me see, ionline.htm. Everybody got that?
Can you repeat that?
You're out of order, Mr. James.
Please look under all permit records, face up, new. These documents and the application may be obtained from the Illinois EPA's office at 2125 South First Street in Champaign, 217-278-5800, and at 1340 North 9th Street in Springfield, 217-782-7027. Copies of the document may be made available upon request. The 1990 amendments to the Clean Air Act require potentially major sources of air emissions to obtain federally enforceable operating permits. A FESOP allows a source that is potentially major to take operational limits in the permit so that it is a non-major source. The permit will contain federally enforceable limitations that restrict the facility's emissions to non-major levels. The permit will be enforceable by the U.S. EPA as well as the Illinois EPA.
Thank you, Barb. Ms. Amons?
I just want to make aware to the public that we, myself,
Close to the
Mr.
microphone.
Chair, the chair, Mr. Pius Weibel, as well as Mr. Lloyd Carter, participated in the NACO conference in Kansas City and had an opportunity to learn a lot. I believe I learned a lot. I should speak for myself. But really thanking the board for making funds available for training and preparation for county board members. I think this is a good opportunity to prepare new members as they enter the board, but as well as keeping those who have been on the board for some time in the know, if you will, with changes in different areas that we are faced with in policy and environment and so on and so forth. So I really wanted to thank this board publicly as well as the people who pay for this, which is the public, so that we can participate in training and training opportunities as board members.
I would concur with those words. I'd also might add there will be several items which you will see on the upcoming agendas as a result of that meeting. Mr. Carter.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much too, and it's a lot to learn, and sometimes it gets kind of crowded to get from one place to the other, but I learned that global warming is not a joke. It seems that if we don't do something pretty quick, we won't have water to drink. And we have a global problem of sex slave trading, which I'll be bringing some stuff to my committee, the Justice Committee, when we meet. And I'm getting where I can't take notes like I used to. If I go again, I think I get me a recorder where I can document both stuff and bring back. But those two main issues I went to, and it's something else. But anyway, when I get back my packet, I will be bringing for some more ideas to the county board.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carter. Any other announcements? I have one. For those of you who enter the building in the mornings, you'll notice there's an elderly man at the front desk. His name is Harold Witt. On Monday, he will be 96 years old. So if you come by in the morning, please say happy birthday to him. Consent agenda. Are there any items? I'm sorry, Jan.
I know Mr. Witt personally. He's a member of my church and a dear friend. And this is typical. His whole life he has volunteered. And even when he was going through some serious medical treatments this last year, his wife told me that he came over to the county and was at the desk because that was people were expecting him to do. So he is an outstanding person in this community.
He is a trooper. Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items you wish to pull off of the consent agenda? This is the time to do it.
I move the consent agenda.
Moved by Mr. Betts, second by Mr. McGinty. Roll call.
Ammons.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Dennett.
Yes.
Gladney.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones. Knott.
Yes.
Langenheim.
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Moline. Mosier. Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries. Committee reports. Finance Committee, Mr. McGinty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6604, payment of claims authorization, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6605, purchases not following purchasing policy, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. Discussion. Ms. Ammons.
I have one question about the one that we just received here. If I can just get some clarity on the highway county motor fuel, is that a tax or is that for road construction? This is the one we just received here, not in our package.
You're talking about the 4,434?
434,000.
I think that's for Curtis Road. That's
Is that-
payment for
is
part
that
of the
repair?
Curtis Road project.
Project, thank you.
Further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3, the Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6606, an emergency budget amendment out of the County Clerk's Office for $41,900 to cover expenses in the line items detailed on pages 16 and 17 in the packet, and I so move.
Second by Mr. Mosier. Discussion. See none, roll call.
Ammons. Anderson.
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Carter. Dennett. Gladney.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones. Knott.
Yes.
Langenheim. McGinty.
Yes.
Moline. Mosier. Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries.
Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6607, an emergency transfer of funds for $1,178 to pay for moving expenses for Children's Advocacy Center office, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call.
Ammons.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Carter. Dennett.
Yes.
Gladney.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Knott.
Yes.
Langenheim.
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Moline. Mosier. Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries.
And that is all from Finance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGinty. Policy, Personnel, and Appointments, Mr. Betts.
Good evening. From the main agenda, I move adoption of Resolution 6608, appointing Lacey Taylor to the Broadlands Longview Fire Protection District for a term ending April 30th, 2010, and I so move.
Second by Mr. Mosier. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I move adoption of Resolution 6609, appointing Michael McHenry to the Philo Fire Protection District for a term ending April 30th, 2009, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schrader. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
From the addendum, I move the adoption of Resolution 6631, approving the appointment of the election judges.
Second.
Second by Mr. James. I might add that you should have the list of the judges in front of you.
They've been signed off by Mr. Fabry and Mr. Barrickman.
Yes, they have.
Thank you.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Nothing further from policy.
Thank you, Mr. Betts. Justice and Social Services, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you. Justice and Social Services has one item, since we didn't have committee meeting this month. I move adoption of Resolution Number 6610, authorizing intergovernmental agreements between Champaign County and certain villages within the county for animal control and animal impoundment services.
Second by Mr. Richards. Discussion, Ms. Anderson.
I might just comment that these are renewal of contracts that were 2-year contracts. It will be for another 2 years, really without changes other than the rate, which I don't think you see in the materials, but it has been $26.20, and that will be going up to $31.85 to reflect the increased costs. And next year, these will be 2-year contracts. Next year, there will be factored in rate of inflation, but that will not have to come back to the board.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And that is all.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Highway and Transportation Committee. Mr. Jay, would you report for the committee, please? Oh, Mr. O'Connor. You're the vice chair. Sorry, Mr. Jay.
We're 5 minutes late. It was all on the consent agenda.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to the addendum. County Facilities. Mr. James.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item is adoption of resolution number 6621, appropriating $20,124.91 from the Courthouse Construction Remodeling Fund for payment of invoice number 8 from White Bergorni, or however we want to Architects. I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2, item 2, adoption of resolution number 6622, appropriating $13,352.67 from the Courthouse Construction Remodeling Fund for payment of invoice number 9 from White Bergoni Architects. And don't correct me again. So moved.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Richards. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
If it's okay with everybody else, if I may, before I start on item, well, wait a minute. I'm jumping the gun. Item 3, adoption of resolution number 6623, appropriating $2,255 from the Courthouse Construction Remodeling Fund for payment of invoice number 2 from IGW Architects.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Number 4 through number 9 is about Elias. So I can read each resolution number, or how do we do this? Does anybody want to?
Omnibus.
Move an omnibus.
Okay, so what do I do? Just items 4? Do I have to
move an
read the
omnibus.
resolutions numbers?
Just the numbers, yeah.
Resolution, and then
Okay.
read the number.
Okay, adoption of the following resolution numbers: 6624, 6625, 6626, 6627, 6628, and 6629.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts of this omnibus motion. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
That saves my radio voice. Item 10, adoption of resolution number 6630, appropriating $1,503 from the Champaign County Highway Facility Construction Fund for invoice number 130865 from BLDD Architects. And I like that one. So moved.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mosier. Discussion. See none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Well done, Mr. James.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to other business. The closed session minutes of June 19, 2008, are they circulating?
I move approval.
Second by Mr. Carter. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. One more item to add. Mr. Alanudo would like to talk about a handout that you should have on your desk. Mr. Nudo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In front of you, you should have a draft, thank you, of the county schools district school facilities tax. And this is a form through the assistance of Mr. Betts, Mr. McGinney, Mr. Jones, Ms. Busey, Chair Weibel. We went to the Regional Office of Education with Jane Quinlan's approval to work with some of the school superintendents to ask them to put on paper just exactly what they were going to be spending their money on. And in particular, we were requesting, since it's not in the state law and should be, some method of rebating current tax abatement on current bond issues that are out there already. Because this school tax goes on forever. There is no sunset on it. So why not rebate to the taxpayers what is already out there to retire debt first before they go into their repairs? Some number. It could be 100%, as you can see on some of these items, or it could be 33%. In fact, everybody participated voluntarily. I'm pleased to tell you that there's only one on here that has not reported what they're going to do, only because they have a meeting on the 29th. But in the example here, if you look at Fisher, Fisher has a current amount of outstanding bonds of $7,980,000. They are willing to rebate about 12.5%. The tax reduction would be 10 cents. On a $150,000 home, that would equal $44.50. If we go out and spend money in the county, we would have to spend $4,450 in taxable items, so that the taxpayer can look at this and say, you know what, that's a fair trade, or that might be in my favor. We've worked with 6 or 7 state legislators to talk about some of the shortcomings of this bill compared to Iowa's, and also with the Chamber of Commerce. On a bipartisan way, we've had bipartisan support and some assurances from some of the state legislators that they're going to go back into regular session in January and seek to change this law. The longer we wait, the more bonds that go out. Those bonds could be callable if we don't make changes early. I believe there's only been one county that's passed this legislation, Williamson, and then 4 others will have it on the ballot this November. So that there's still 104 counties, so if we can get some of these things changed in the state law, there won't be that many bonds out. But I'm really pleased that the school districts have participated in this way. In some cases, in the rural areas, if you look at Tolono, they're going to rebate back $351 on a $150,000 home, which is equivalent to $35,000 in purchases. So chances for passage are higher if taxpayers see that there's a trade-off here, and in particular some relief in property taxes. Personally, I would like to see us have a similar kind of vote we had with MPA, something with a 20-plus plurality on this, if we can get both sides to agree that this is something that is favorable to the taxpayer in the county. And that would give a show of strength to the school districts for what they're doing voluntarily before we can hopefully get this passed, changed in the state legislature. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Noodle. That item, of course, will be on the Policy Committee agenda in early August, and then it will move on to the regular County Board agenda. Okay, there's no new business. We're adjourned.
How about that?
And I want to know, it was a short meeting.